Okay, so what is up, my friends? I'm not going to hold you long. I just want to share something with you that I came across recently. It jumped out at me. And it made me think about a conversation I had had with someone recently. Well, not so recently. This was before the last election, presidential election, regarding politicians, um, some of the things that they're responsible for doing, and some of the things that they should be capable of. And I was coming at this conversation from a more of a conservative position, as in choice for candidates, as in choice for a political party, things of that nature. Kind of like some of the people that I thought would be better in certain positions. And the individual I was having a conversation with, a friend of mine, was coming from the opposite side of the aisle. And I remember what he said to me. Now, let me give you a little idea of uh, the type of person that we're talking about here. Just just a brief description of the individual, so you can get some sort of an idea. Um, this is not a dummy. This is a very intelligent man, someone I've known for a long time. I've known over 20 years. But what he said, it, for lack of a better way to put it, it almost wounded me because it was so disappointing. It was so disappointing. And one of the names that came up in the conversation, I mentioned uh, AOC, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. And I found him either not wanting to even have that discussion or kind of defending, everybody's different. People like different things, that type of thing, kind of deflective. But I think when I say disappointed, I think what the most disappointing thing was, I remember something he said. Now, this is a black man, African American man, whatever term you want to use, in his 50s, mid to late 50s. Like I said, intelligent, hardworking, held down the same job for multiple decades, um, you know, and all around good guy. But he said something that really stayed with me. He said, you know what? He said, you know what, bro? We don't even need to go there because I've been a Democrat all my life and I'm going to stay a Democrat and I'm going to vote Democrat. And ain't nothing you or nobody else can say to make me change my mind. And that was pretty much the end of the conversation. I mean, what do you say? What do you say to that? When somebody says something like that, what do you say? If it's a debate, an argument, a discussion, an exchange, whatever you want to call it, when somebody takes that type of position, what can you say? You have to let it go. There's literally nowhere to go from there. Um, you just have to let it go. And that's what I did. I let it go. Um, and by the same token, I lost my desire to have any type of physical or political conversations with this person um, on just about any issue because I felt like it was just childish. I didn't feel like we could have a conversation about. Let's talk about something else. I mean, we can talk about other things, but this right here, that response that you gave me was so childish, so immature that we can't have those discussions because that's a serious topic for me. And I can't have that conversation with someone who has a child's mindset in that area. Not to insult the individual, um, not to try to say that they're childish and immature and this, that, and the other, but in that area, in that particular subject here, that topic, that's a very childish way to approach it. Something that I think is a very serious topic. We can go down the rabbit hole about how much influence we really have, how much control we really have, what's real and what's not real. But that's an entirely different conversation. Let's just have the assumption that what you think matters. Let's just assume that what you think matters. Now, moving forward from there, what and how do you think? That's how I approach it. And like I said, it was so off-putting. Um, I think it was beyond disappointing. It was almost just disgusting in a way. But I let it go. you know. But I was reminded of that conversation when I saw a video on Instagram, I think it was, um, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And when she was talking, I was saying to myself, how does someone like this get the votes they need to be in office? Who's voting for people like this? Who thinks that they're capable of making the sound decisions that need to be made based upon reason and logic? And then I wondered to myself, are those even prerequisites that many voters have? Do they even care about reason? Do they even care about logic? Is logic almost like a foreign language to them? And I'm really thinking that it is. And why do I think this way? In this last video, I'm going to play this video for you. It's really short. But what I need you to do, and this is part of the reason for this exercise, is that conversation and other conversations like that kind of made me aware that sometimes on the internet, out in the interwebs, out in the cyber world, you'll find people who think more like you, or uh, that you can have better conversations with than a lot of people that you interact on a daily basis. It kind of makes you question some things. But anyway, I want to pose this question to you all, or this scenario to you all. I want to play this video, and as you watch this video, think about the things that pop out to you. Think about the things that come to mind, what she's saying, how she's saying it, and kind of catalog that. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to split that video up into 3 distinct parts. And I'm going to play them. And I'm going to tell you my thoughts. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because she's literally all over the place. And I think that a lot of people watch it and they don't really see all of what's happening here. I'm sure I missed some things. But they don't understand how random it is, but at the same time, how there's an underlying structure. It's almost like a plot in a movie. No, it's more like a magician. When magicians, they do one thing because they're doing something else over here. And a lot of people, they're sleight of hand. They're looking over here where all the action is. They're looking at what they think they see, and there's something entirely different going on. So without further ado, let me just play that video for you. Think about it, catalog your thoughts, and then let's compare some of the things that we all saw, some of the things that might be different. And then let me know in the comments section if you were thinking the same things I was thinking, some of the things I might have missed, and some of your thoughts, because I really would like to know what you make of this, because it's funny on one hand, scary on the other. Here we go.
What about the surge? Well, first of all, just gut check, stop. Anyone who's using the term surge around you consciously is trying to invoke a militaristic frame. And that's a problem because this is not a surge. These are children and they are not insurgents. And we are not being invaded, which, by the way, is a white supremacist idea, philosophy. The idea that if an other is coming in the population, that this is like an invasion of who we are.
Okay, so what does that sound like to you? Did that sound coherent to you? Did it at least make sense? I mean, if you're thinking about the politics, you're thinking about opposing viewpoints. Does this sound like someone who just has a legitimate opposing viewpoint? Or does this sound like someone who's confused, who doesn't really know what they're talking about? Someone who, I mean, there might be, in her mind, there might be a clear thought stream there, but I think it goes beyond communication. I think it goes beyond the ability to communicate effectively and onto the realm or into the realm of incoherent thought, confusion, Ignorance. I think it goes that far. What do you make of that? Let's take a look at this. Let's break it down. I'm gonna play clip one. I'll give you my thoughts on that. Here's clip one.
What about the surge? Well, first of all, just gut check, stop. Anyone who's using the term surge around you consciously is trying to invoke a militaristic frame. And that's a problem.
Here. First, the stop. First of all, stop. And the finger and the hand and all that good stuff. Um, it, immature to say the least. But just uh, it's that alpha female masculine slash cutesy type. It's just confusing because it's like, what is that? She's got this light little dainty voice, the little cutesy way she's talking, but it's aggressive. If you look at it, it's aggressive. I think that confuses the heck out of a lot of people. Um, Beyond politics, just dealing with members of the opposite sex, men, women, relationships, things of that nature. That was a lot. That was a lot. Because I'm not going to sit here and say that she's an unattractive woman. I'm not going to say she's an ugly woman. So you've got this young, cute woman. I know a lot of people would disagree with that. They have some horrible things to say. But you got this young, cute woman, very feminine in a lot of ways. The voice, the pitch is up. The way she forms her little words, it's a really cutesy thing. But then if you look, you see the hand and the finger. She's pointing at you, jabbing her finger into your face and swinging her hands around and stop. Reminds me of the stop, talk to the hand type thing. Um, and that's very aggressive, masculine type behavior. It's just kind of confusing. Um, but beyond that, she talks about if anyone. First of all, she automatically assumes that she knows what any and everyone means when they say something, when they're talking about something, which is that's a rabbit hole we can go down, but it's very off base because it's a very broad concept, very broad subject. Anyone talking about insurgent or anything like that. So it's very broad, but automatically she thinks that she can pin all of these people down into one little narrow reason for saying what they say. But then she says it's militaristic. My first thought on militaristic is that you don't have a clue about what you're talking about. You don't understand. I don't think she really can truly comprehend or fully understand militaristic. I'd love to hear what her definition of militaristic, because I think her definition or idea of militarism is way off base. That's what I think. I think we can't just accept that statement that she made at face value and move on, because I think she really did not know what she was talking about. She has this idea in her mind, but it's misguided and it's very, very much off base. So she says, everybody stop. This is what people think. When everybody thinks this when they say this, and now they're trying to be militaristic. So this ties in later on, because the third clip that I'm going to play is a clear example of how wrong, how very wrong she is. But let's play clip 2.
Because this is not a surge. These are children, and they are not insurgents.
Okay. Why did I separate that? Very short, couple seconds, a second or two. These are children, and they're not insurgents. Why did I separate? Because this gives us an intimate clue as to how warped her mind is. I say warped. How she really is confused about what she's talking about. What I find interesting is like the English language it's a funny language. We all take a lot for granted because we grew up speaking English for the most part. But it's really a, excuse me, it's actually really a complicated language. Complicated yet simple. Why do I say that? It's complicated in that there's a lot of words that sound the same, but they don't mean the same. A lot of words that look the same have completely different meaning. So it can be kind of easy to get confused. I think she's been speaking English for a very long time, so she has no excuse in this area. And simple, I say simple because exact opposite, because you can literally butcher the English language and still be understood, reasonably anyway. I mean, you can slaughter the language and people are like, oh, okay, I think I know what you're talking about. So it's simple in that sense, but complicated in the other sense that a lot of words sound the same, look the same, parts may be spelled the same, don't mean the same. So she said, these are not insurgents, these are children. First of all, children can be insurgents. That's not what this video is about. That's a totally different subject. But children can be insurgents, just like children can be freedom fighters. We see it all the time. Maybe not here in the United States, but in other places. See, we have this misguided belief that you're a kid until you turn 18, you're just a little kid. And then somehow on your 18th birthday, you become this adult. So you go from knowing nothing to knowing everything overnight. The rest of the world doesn't see it that way. See, they understand that. There's a growth, there's a progression that happens. And nature plays a big role in it. A lot of places, if a woman has her menstrual cycle, she's able to reproduce and she is an adult. Same thing for boys. So you have these kids, young men, running around with AK-47s. And if they get caught, they'll be treated just like an adult enemy. So I've seen it. I've seen what they do to these quote-unquote kids. So kids can be insurgents. So she's dead wrong on that. I don't think she even gave any thought to that. She was going somewhere else with that, but I thought it would be useful to throw that in there. But no one said anything about insurgents. Said surge. As far as numbers increasing. Surge. You can have a surge in obesity-related deaths. You can have a surge in heart attacks in an area. You can have a surge in vehicle accidents. All it just means is an increase, and a rapid increase. That's what a surge is a rapid increase. What does that have to do with insurgency? But here we have someone who represents thousands and thousands of people at the federal level who doesn't know this, doesn't understand this. That's what I was talking about earlier. That's a problem. That is a problem. And for the life of me, I mean, why would you vote even if you were so adamantly against one political party? Say you're a member of one party, you despise the other political party. You hate everything about it. You can't stand it. Okay, I get it. So it would seem to me that you would demand the best from your own political party so that you could put forth a candidate, a viable candidate, or a viable representative, or a viable office holder that could legitimately keep you in power, operating under the logic and the reason of the premise that you support. I would think you would want the best up front. Side note, how did Biden end up being the best the Democratic Party had to offer? Really? When most people I know that are Democrats didn't even want Biden. The only reason they support him is because he was rammed down their throat. He became the presumptive nominee, and if they wanted to support their party and toe the line, they had to support Biden. So you literally have people who try to defend him. They'll get mad if you're laughing because the guy fell up the stairs 3 times, right? But this is what you get, and it would seem like you would demand more from whatever party you support to counter the most effective way that you can, the representative of the party that you despise. So why do we keep seeing people who don't even understand what they're talking about? In these positions of power? Who's voting for them and why? Understand there's probably a small group, well, it might be larger than I think, of young folks, but maybe not just young, but a little bit older too, that lack the brain muscles in the same way that the person that they're supporting. So they're equally, for lack of a better way to put it, equally goofy, politically goofy. I get that. But there's some people out there, like the gentleman, the friend that I mentioned earlier, who have full possession of their reasoning capabilities, who are intelligent, but they'll still go along with that based upon a political affiliation. It's crazy. I don't get it. It's like the word independence means nothing to them. You can sit there and hear people going back and forth. Well, I'm a Republican. Well, I'm a Democrat. And if you said, well, I'm an independent, they look at you like a space alien. How dare you? What do you mean you're independent? What does that mean? It means I can vote either way I want to. It means I make decisions based upon the issues. Anyway, back on track. This last clip that I'm going to play you ties it all together. All right, so let's play clip 3 of Miss AOC with her advanced logic and reasoning.
And we are not being invaded, which, by the way, is a white supremacist idea, philosophy. The idea that if an other is coming in the population, that this is like an invasion of who we are.
Okay, this is what I mean by, sounds like one thing, but it's really something different. How far off base? She says we're not being invaded. First of all, she said these are children. They're not insurgents. We're not being invaded. And this is a white supremacist idea. See how it ties back to white supremacy, because that's the theme of the day. White supremacy. Everything's about white supremacy, right? But I'm going to show you how flawed this is. She says it's a white supremacist, invasion is a white supremacist idea when some other comes in. So it's a white supremacist idea. But here's what I find so interesting about that. When you think about invader, right? Think about Adolf Hitler. He invaded Poland. They invaded France. They tried to invade Britain. All right, they invade Russia. They were invaders. Invade, going into someone else's country. Invading. They were the offense, right? They were the ones crossing the border into someone else's country to do battle with them, to take over, to take their resources, to kill people. That's what invaders do, right? Adolf Hitler did that. But what I find interesting is that Adolf Hitler was white. So does that mean the people in France couldn't call him an invader? Didn't see him as an invader? Wouldn't have thought of him as invading their country because he's white? Because he's not other? What this points out is it has nothing to do with the race. That's an complication. What it is an attempt to try to throw everything at the border situation that has nothing to do with the actual problem. Whether you're a fan of Trump or not, one of the things that you would have to agree upon is that the wall would have been the most logical way to stop people from, quote unquote, invading or coming over illegally. However you want to look at it. But I find it interesting that you're dealing with a situation where people are trying to figure out what to do with these children that are unaccompanied over here. First of all, how did they get here? And if you're talking about reuniting with the parents, they try to steer the narrative as if it's their parents are here too, all of them. But you just watching the news, and you got kids getting dropped off at the border, and people go back the other way. They're just tossed at the border. You would think that you would try to get down to the bare bones of it. Let's take this thing down to the very most basic. What is the most basic problem? People that come across the border illegally. Okay, stop that. Stop that first and then fix everything else. It's like triage. It's like treating someone who got shot. Stop the bleeding. Because if you do not stop that bleeding, nothing else matters. You could even be so liberal and conservative to take both extremes and make a plan that works. You could say, you know what? We're gonna plug the border. We're gonna stop all illegal immigration. We're gonna put a big wall up, a big huge walls going up. We're gonna stop it all. Nobody else gets in. And we're not trying to. If you want to reunite somebody, a kid's here, their parents is in another country. We're gonna send the kid to the other country. We could do that. We could just be as far to the right, I guess they would call it, as possible. Say that's what we're going to do. And then at the same time, we're going to go as far to the left as possible on the backside and say, if you're here right now, you've been here for X number of years, 5 years, 3 years. We could even say, if you're on American soil right now, once this big wall goes up, you're now a citizen. Welcome to America. Could be a lot of problems with that. But you could take both extremes, right, and then move forward from there if you wanted to. If you really wanted to move forward. But do they really want to move forward? You could literally take both extremes, settle some things, and move forward and say, now, you try to come across this border, you're going to have a problem. It's a criminal act. It's against the law. But if you're here, you can get a job, you can pay taxes just like the rest of us. Let's move forward. But they want to keep things confused. They want to keep things in turmoil while they push forward their hidden agendas, the things that they have these ultimate goals. And instead of just telling you what they really want to do, they try to mask it. That's why they have cameras. They won't let cameras go. That's why they try to expand facilities, saying they're not opening the borders up. But why do you expect more people to be here? Why is there overcrowding? Let's think backwards on all of this stuff. And it's not hard to do. But then you have people like Miss Cortez who kind of just add to the confusion. That's their job. I don't think she's as ignorant. I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a really tough one. Maybe she is that dumb, for lack of a better way to put it. Not dumb, but maybe she is that detached or ignorant or lacks that much understanding. Maybe she is. Maybe she is that foolish. Somebody put her in office, though. And I think they're just as accountable as everybody else. But anyway, on that note, let me know what you think about that. Tell me in the comment section. What did you get from that? What did I miss? Beyond the little cutesy, girly girl, stupid thing. What did I miss? Let me know in the comment section, guys. Take care. Peace.